Hey guys, it's Debbie. I'm back with the afternoon session of the state of South Carolina versus Zachary Hughes. So let's get back to it. Yay, it's raining. Maybe it will cool off.
Please the court. The state calls Michael Land.
I'm hot.
You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Please state your name for the record.
Michael Land, Land.
So Land, who do you work for?
The Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with them?
About 7.5 years.
What are your main duties?
So I work in the intelligence unit where we do processing of all sorts of electronic data and any kind of investigative work to help with a wide variety of cases.
And did you get asked to try to verify the internet address of the Winds Mountain House?
I did, yes, sir.
How did that happen?
So this was back November 1st of 2024, so last year. I was asked to drive up to the Indian Flats Trail, and we used an Android device that pretty much just scans, just like a phone does, Wi-Fi addresses, Wi-Fi networks that are available, and it logs them. That way we could log what different networks were up there, and the Win Wi-Fi was one of the networks identified.
So how were you able to identify it?
So it when you scan, just like if you're driving down the road on your phone, and it might pop up, say Starbucks or McDonald's Wi-Fi. It works in the same way. So this showed Win Wi-Fi it displayed the name for it.
So did you just park on the street and look to see what available networks?
Right. Yeah. So just driving up the street and it automatically pops up.
Right. And how do you spell it?
It was spelled WINNWIFI.
And were you in close proximity to that Indian Flats Trail Mountain House?
Yes, sir. On the road, just at the end of the driveway.
Answer questions they may have. No questions, Mr. All right. They step down.
Thank you.
Why is this trial so full of witnesses it gets asked like 2 questions? This has been the weirdest trial. It's like
The state calls Jim
hour.
Perry.
It's like a half an hour of silence and then witnesses that get like 2 questions. Did he say Jim Carrey?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay.
I do.
different Jim Carrey.
Please state your name for the record.
James Perry.
Oh, Harry. Okay.
All right, Mr. Perry, what is your rank? How do you go by?
I'm an investigator.
Investigator. And what do you do for a living?
I'm an investigator with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office.
And what kind of work do you do for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office?
I do the Computer Crimes Investigation Unit.
What does that entail?
It entails doing forensics on cell phones.
And were you, well, how long have you been with them?
I've been with Greenville County for 30 years, and then I had another 13 years with Greenville City and Greer. So 43 years total, with a little
Congratulations.
stench of about 7 years doing private investigation. So 50 years.
50 years in investigations.
Yeah.
I imagine you have a story or two for us.
There's statute of limitations.
I'm glad to hear that.
I
How
like
did you get involved in this particular case?
The day of October 13th, I was asked to go out by my sergeant to the crime scene to collect a cell phone that belonged to the victim and bring it back and do the forensics on that one.
Now, are you oftentimes utilized, along with Charlie Cunningham, who we heard from as well, to help download phones and analyze them?
Yes.
And in doing that, what software do you use to
Okay.
analyze those?
Back then, I was using just the regular Cellbrite forensics tool.
And what does Cellbrite Forensic Tool do?
It basically what it does is it images the cell phone that you target, and once you get the image, you load it into a software program that pulls up a certain format that you can go through it and see what kind of data that is actually on there.
So you have the software that downloads the raw data from the phone.
Correct.
And then you have the software that helps you read it.
Yeah, it opens it up and parses it to make it a readable.
And is that called Cellbrite Reader?
It's called Physical Analyzer, UFED Physical Analyzer. The report you get when you go through it is called, it puts a program in there called Cellbrite Reader, so that if I give it to you, you can open it. You don't have to have the program I have.
And once it gets into the Cellbrite portion, the reading part of the software, are you able to manipulate it after that, or?
No, once it comes up on the screen and it's opened up, you can't go in there and add things or take things away.
In this case, were you asked to review the downloaded data from Zach Hughes' phone?
I was.
And were you able to do that?
I did.
And how would you do that? Or where would you do that?
I did it in my office on my forensic computer.
And once you're in there, are you able to generate reports?
You can create a report from a report. So if I were to give someone a 50 gig Cellbrite report, but you just want to narrow it down to 1 day, you can narrow it down to 1 day, and then at that point create another report that looks identical as far as the layout of the Cellbrite report. But I know, like on this particular phone, if you were to print it out, would have been close to 88,000 pages if you did the whole phone.
And so were you able to review the information on this phone as well?
I was.
In fact, did you identify that WIN Wi-Fi that we just
Yes,
I
I did. I saw the WIN Wi-Fi in the networks.
And then when you obtain that information, do you report it back to the lead investigators about information that's found on the phone?
Right. If we're specifically asked to go through the phone, we will give them a report, pretty much of everything we found that's relevant to what they're looking for.
And so not only are you downloading the phone and reading it, you're perusing it for evidence that you think may be important to the investigator's case.
Correct.
Are you communicating with the investigator about all of this?
Up front, they kind of give us an idea what they're looking for. And then at that point, we go through. It may even come down to the point, and in most of these cases, the solicitor will come over and sit down and go through with it, which you did, sat down, and we were able to show him different things that were on the phone that were relevant.
So were you able to make various reports on Zach Hughes's phone?
I was.
And was one of those reports called user accounts?
Some of them, yes, that's one of the, it has tabs, and each tab will give you different information on the phone. And user's account is one.
I'm gonna show you what states exhibit 170. It's already in evidence, and then we'll go through it. Is that on the is that the user accounts?
That is.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at it real quick. So up at the top right here, is that how we're identifying it as user accounts?
That is correct.
All right, so what is user accounts going to show?
I mean, it'll show if they have a WhatsApp, a Facebook page, it'll identify those and actually sometimes give you the information you need to, if you need to send off a legal process for that account.
All right, so I'll refer you to column number 3, for example. What is that?
I'm sorry, column.
Yeah, column, looking at the numbers on the left side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so number 3.
Okay. That's ZachDavidHughes@gmail.com.
And so is that the information that would have been put on this report from that phone?
That's correct.
So what does that tell you, me, or whoever's looking at this thing?
It just tells you that one of the users on that phone has an email account of ZachDavidHughes@gmail.
Okay. What about number 6 and 7?
SDG Piano at Yahoo, and then the Beethoven Odyssey at gmail.com were additional accounts that were on that phone.
All right. So that information is given to us, given to the solicitor's office, given to investigators to help identify whose phone that is.
It helps, yes.
Okay. All right. So are there additional reports called device events?
There are.
All right. What's a device events report?
The iPhone will pick up an extremely large amount of activity that you're doing on your phone every day. It will show if you turn the device on, if you turn it off, if the screen comes on, the screen goes off. If you rotate it from the to landscape mode or portrait mode to landscape, it tells that you did that. It's a treasure trove of information of what's going on with that phone in the hands of the user.
And do y'all use this in investigations to help determine what that phone was doing during a certain amount of time?
Correct.
And is it able to tell you certain things?
It is.
Okay. Will it tell you when the phone's plugged in or unplugged,
Correct.
for example? And did you run a report on Zach Hughes' phone for device events?
I did.
We'll show you State's Exhibit 175. Do you recognize that exhibit?
Yes, this is a copy of the device events
For whose phone?
for Zach Hughes' phone.
Your Honor, State moves 175 into evidence. Objection.
Objection.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to start with column 1. And I'll see it there. All right. So tell us what that column 1 is, and we're just going to go down the columns, and you can tell the jury what is this telling you?
That just, it gives you the time, it's a time date stamp for the value of the event that you're looking at.
Okay. So the event type tells you what the event is.
Correct?
The value tells you kind of what it's doing.
Correct. In other words, device plug-in status, it's going to show you basically in the values that it was plugged in.
What about this source over here?
That just tells you basically where it was found by the Cellbrite program in the database. That's where it extracted it out.
So looking at number 1, what's the date and time and the end time, and what was the event?
It was on October 13th at 4:30 a.m. and it was plugged in.
So is that telling you that somebody plugged in their phone to charge it?
Correct.
So that would require manual manipulation.
Yes.
All right. And let's go to number 2.
Basically, it's 10:13 at 4:30 a.m. It's telling you that the phone was unlocked.
So how would somebody unlock a phone?
Usually either Face ID, thumbprint, put the passcode in. One of those usually would be the way to do it.
Would that mean the phone is in somebody's hand
Right.
or being
Yeah.
manipulated by a person? Is that
Correct.
fair? All right. And so number 3?
At 5:56 a.m. on the 13th, it's telling you that the phone was unlocked.
And same analysis
thing.
applies.
Correct.
All right. Number 4?
At 6:02, the phone is unlocked.
And number 5?
At 6:09 a.m., the phone was again unlocked.
All right. And this is all on October 13th.
All of these are, on. Yeah, everything I think on this report is the 13th.
So I'll refer you to number 5.
Again, the phone is unlocked at 6:09.
Number 6.
Phone again unlocked at 7:06.
Number 7.
Phone again unlocked at 7:07.
And then number 8.
The phone is again unlocked at 7:41.
What is the end time on number 8?
I'm sorry.
The end time? Does it have a start time and an
I
end
can,
time? Oh, I'm sorry.
Move it up just a tad.
Move it up.
There you go.
There you go.
7:42.
All right. So then I'm going to show you column number 9. What is that? Column number 9.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. At 7:42 a.m., the device is plugged in.
And then what about the end time?
End time is 11:34.
And then I'm going to go to number 10, and then we're going to go back to number 9. But what's number 10?
10 is at 10:34, the device is plugged in.
Is that 11:34?
I'm sorry, 11:34.
Device is plugged in. All right, so explain to this jury what this gap in time is. We've got 7:42 to 11:34.
It's just showing that the phone is unlocked. Any of those normal things that happen with the phone
It's not being utilized.
not being utilized.
All right, and then it continues on. For example, at number 13. What's going on at number 13?
Okay, at 11:35, you're having a orientation change of the phone to landscape, means he was looking at it like this, turned it and was looking at it in that mode.
So that would require physical manipulation of the phone.
Correct,
Go from a vertical phone to a horizontal phone.
correct.
All right, and then for time's sake, does it just continue? What about number 16?
16 at 1:21 PM, the output speaker is turned on.
And what time was that?
That was it, 1:21 to 1:41.
And then what about number 17?
Change of landscape at 1:21.
And again, number 18?
You have another orientation landscape at 1:41.
And let's go back up to the top of this report. What time in number 19?
19 again, a speaker activation at 1:48 PM.
I'll skip to what about number 22?
22, you have a speaker activation at 2:22 PM.
Okay. And what's the end time on that?
3:50 PM.
And so I'm going to take you to number 83, just sort of the end of this report on the 13th. So what was the last thing that the Zach Hughes phone did on the 13th?
He unlocked it at 11:40 PM.
That night? Okay. The night of the 13th?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Did you have the occasion to print out any more reports?
Gosh, yeah,
Lots of reports.
yes.
Did you do a report entitled Timeline?
I did.
Okay. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 176. Do you recognize that report?
Yes, that is timeline.
Is that a timeline for application usage log?
Correct.
Your Honor, State moves 176 into evidence. No objection.
Objection 176.
All right.
So I'm going to show you you can just tell us about the number one line and what that means and at what time.
Just the application usage log stating that on 10/13, 2021 at 7:06 a.m., the application usage log, he was logged in to his
And what is the description?
VPN, Express VPN.
What is that?
VPN is just a way of a private logging in to the internet.
And so what is application usage log?
Application usage log, it's just what it says. It's the usage of that particular thing on that day.
Is it to tell you the usage of a particular app or an application?
Correct.
Okay, and so it tells you when you use a certain application or if it, let me ask you
Correct.
this. If it's not on there, that means you're not using it. Is that correct?
Most likely, yes.
So I'm gonna show you number 6. What is the application usage log?
That's 10/13/2021 at 7:07 a.m. And that's the ExpressVPN.
All right, is that the last application usage log on Zach Hughes' phone on the 13th?
It is.
Did you do some more reports?
I'm thinking, yeah, I think there's more coming.
All right, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna ask you about, what about an report from the Cellbrite regarding wireless networks?
Correct.
All right, will that show what wireless networks you connected to along the way?
It will.
We'll show you States Exhibit 177.
Yeah.
Is that the wireless networks report that you were in?
It,
So what is the wireless networks report?
I'm sorry, what now?
What is the wireless networks report?
It shows when somebody connects to a wireless network that's available to them.
All right. I'm going to refer you to line number 3.
So that's a when Wi-Fi is the name of the Wi-Fi, and then it's showing that it auto-connected on 10/13 at 2021 at 1:17 p.m.
Zach Hughes' phone was connected to the Win Wi-Fi.
Correct.
And you just heard testimony. Where's the Win Wi-Fi located?
799 Indian Flats up in Marietta.
And what does last auto connected mean?
That means the last time it auto-connected. In other words, he didn't have to put in the password. He drives up the house, walks up, whatever, and it connects, just like mine does at my office and at home. I never have to do anything to it to get it to connect.
All right. Did you run a report entitled Web History?
I did.
And what is Web History going to show you?
It's just the
Web history.
where he goes on the web during any particular time.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 178. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And is that the web history search for October 13th, 2021 of Zach Hughes?
It is.
Your Honor, State moves 178 into evidence. No objection.
No objection.
All right. So I'm going to show you line. Let's just start with 321. Tell this jury how this works, like how you read this report.
It just basically is that first one is it's telling you the Google search that he did, and it was done on 10/13/2021 at 8:22 p.m. in the evening.
All right, I'm going to take you back to the end of the report. These reports sometimes start from early in the day and then go all the way
Right, that you read them backwards.
backwards. All right, so at 3:40, sorry, 3:40, what time was that? Would be his first search on October 13th,
Correct.
2021, right?
Correct.
So the first search was at what time?
It was at 4:23 p.m. on the 13th.
And this right here just tells you what he was logged into.
Correct.
So he wasn't doing any web searches in the morning of October 13th.
Not,
Were you able to run a report called call logs?
I was.
And what is the call log report going to show?
Basically, the call log shows you the calls that he received, made. It usually gives you the duration that the call was.
All right, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 179. Ask you to identify it.
This is the call log for the 13th.
Zach Hughes phone.
Correct.
So you just testified, you gotta have to start backwards and work forward, right? Is that the easiest way to review these?
Yeah, if you're wanting to do it in a
In chronological
chronological order.
All right, so we'll start with 16 and 17. What are the dates there?
Okay, those are on October 12th at 3:05 PM and 6:55 PM.
On the 12th.
12th, those were on the 12th.
All right. And then moving on columns 15 and 16. Sorry, 15 and 14.
Mhm.
Let's go to 15.
Okay, that is a incoming call received from John Mello on 10/12/2021 at 7:01 PM. Duration is an hour and 53 minutes.
All right, so that first number up here, whose number is that?
That would be the number for John Mello's account.
And then what is this number right here?
That would be the number associated with Zach Hughes' WhatsApp.
And that is using WhatsApp.
Mhm.
Can you
Correct.
make phone calls through WhatsApp?
You can.
And what was the duration of that call?
1 hour and 53 minutes.
On October 12th,
Correct.
at what time?
7:01 PM.
That's 7 o'clock at night.
Correct.
What about column 14?
That's a call from Zach Hughes to John Mello. It's an outgoing call. It took place also on the 12th of October at 8:54 PM, and it was 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
And so that call was at what time?
8:54 PM.
And then going to column 13.
It's a call from Zach Hughes' WhatsApp account to John Mello's WhatsApp account. It took place on 10/13/2021 at 3:50 PM, and it was an hour and 20 minutes.
So that's on October 13th, 2021 at 3:50 in the afternoon
Correct,
for a duration of an hour and 20 minutes.
correct.
And then number 12.
Number 12 is from John Mello to Zach Hughes, 10/13/2021 at 7:01 PM, 14 seconds.
And then number 11.
A call from Zach Hughes to John Mello on the 13th of October, 7:15 PM for 19 minutes and 46 seconds.
And then I'll refer you back to number 8.
Call from John Mello to Zach Hughes on 10/14 at 2:05 PM for 22 minutes.
All right, so that's the day after the murder.
Correct.
And then what about number 7?
It's a call to Max Hyde Law Firm on the 14th of October at 2:10 PM for 2 minutes and 39 seconds.
And what about number 6?
It's a call to Isabella Mello on 10/14/2021 at 2:16 PM for 34 seconds.
Whose is a
And number
Mello?
5.
Mello.
Another call back to Max Hyde Law Firm at 3:44 PM on the 14th of October, 2 minutes and 23 seconds.
And then number 4.
Can you pull it down just a tad? Okay, there you go. It's a call from Isabel Mello, incoming to Zach Hughes on the 14th of October at 3:46 PM, not answered.
And number 3.
Called to Isabel Mello, 10/14/2021 at 3:47 PM, 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
Our state moves 179 into evidence. I may have forgotten.
It's been a lot of exhibits.
It's a lot. Sorry. I get in my groove.
No objection.
179 comes in.
Take them down to the last report.
Thank you.
So the last report is called activity sensor data. What is that?
That is, if you have an iPhone, it's your activity app on there, steps, flights of stairs climbed, distance traveled during your activity.
All right, investigative parent, show you state's exhibit 180. You recognize it?
I do.
Is that the activity sensor data?
It is the activity sensor data.
State moves 180 in evidence. No objection.
Objection, 180.
All right. And again, if you want to start beginning of the day, work backwards. So I'll start you with page 6 of the report. I guess that's it. All right. So explain to the jury the first column there, columns.
Okay, the first column, 16, is showing that the time frame between 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. on the 13th of October, the activity took place during that time.
So on down here at the bottom on 10/13 at 5:39 a.m., it says distance traveled.
Correct.
So what was the distance traveled at 5:39 a.m.?
51 meters.
And then at 5:57, how many meters were traveled?
4.23 meters traveled.
Now, I'm certain that for your phone to register this information, you have to have it on your person.
Correct.
If it's sitting on a table when you're walking around, it's not going to magically
No, it's not going to pick anything
pick
up.
anything up.
No.
So let's go to from, I guess, the time frame 6 to 7 o'clock.
6 to 7 o'clock on the 13th of October. Between that period of time, the actual breakdown of when it actually took place was the distance. Which one do you want first? Speed? Okay, steps were at 610, 611. You got a one flight of stairs. Distance traveled, 21 meters, and the speed was 1.29.
Then we'll go from the time frame of 7 a.m. to 8 a.m.
7 a.m. to 8 a.m. If you could move it up just a tad. Okay, from 7 to 8 o'clock, you had two flights of stairs climbed. At 11:50, 11:37, you had one.
No, I think good 14 from 7 to 8 a.m. At 7:41, how many steps were made?
At 7:41, you had 41 meters traveled.
So that's at 7:41 a.m.
Correct.
And then when is the next activity on this phone?
So there's no other activity picked up by the phone as user activity until 11:35, looks like the earliest time, 11:35 a.m. on the 13th.
All right, so let's start at 11:35 and work our way up on distance traveled, flights climbed, and steps, because that would be between 11 and 8 o'clock, right? I mean, 11 and 12 o'clock.
11, and that's your time frame, 11 to 12.
All right, so not to be confusing, at 7:41, the last step was 41 meters,
Correct.
indicated right there.
It was 41 meters at 7:41 a.m.
All right. And then the next activity with the phone in hand
Correct.
is what time?
11:35 a.m.
Okay, and then at 11:35, what happens?
You have 79 meters traveled.
All right, and then 11:48
11:48, you have 37 meters,
and 11:58,
156 meters.
and as far as flights climbed at 11:37,
You had one flight, and then at 11:50, you had two.
all right, and then as far as steps are concerned, at 11:35,
11:35, 115 steps,
11:48,
62,
and of course 11:58.
249.
Now let's move up to the time frame of 11 to 12. I'm sorry, 12 to 1.
12 to 1.
All right. So this is the time frame from 12 to 1. What time does it start as far as speed is concerned?
Speed, it starts at 12:07 p.m.
And what is the speed at 12:07?
It's 1.35 meters per second,
You know, is that somebody walking?
taking a step.
And then, and so that speed is measured up until when?
To 12:59, 47 seconds, just shy of 1 o'clock.
So what about from 12:08 to 12:57 on distance traveled?
You have, at 12:08, you got 316 meters. At 12:18, you have another 88 meters. 12:23, 33 meters. 12:33, another 211. 246, 211, and then at 12:58, you have 229.
And then flights climbed?
Flights climb, you have one flight recorded.
And then what about your steps from 12:08 to 12:57?
You have 477 at 12:08, at 12:18, 138, 12:23, 51, 12:33, 343, 12:46, 340, and at 12:57, 359.
So would that be consistent with somebody, say, cleaning their car and walking around the woods? Which you're on. And then I'm going to go to number 16 at the bottom there. What is that time frame?
Okay, you got 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. on the 13th, and that is distance traveled is 51 at 51 meters. At 5:57 a.m., you have 4.23 meters traveled. And then stepwise at 5:39, you have 68 steps, and at 5:57, you have 9.
All right. And I jumped ahead. I'm going to go back to the areas of 1 to 2. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on the 13th. Again. And you can just summarize, Investigator Perry, for 10:13 at 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
You have distance traveled 515 meters, 3 flights of stairs climbed, and maximum speed of 1.3 meters per second.
And then from the time frames of 2 to 3,
You have total distance 61 meters, 1 flight, and maximum speed 1.09.
all right. Okay. Investigator Perry, if you'll just answer any questions defense may have.
Thanks, sir.
Next witness is going to take a hot minute. I don't know if you want to take an early break. And
We'll take an early break. Get that jury ready. Get some coffee.
Yay, another break. What time is it? 3:30. Hey, pretty girl. It was just a rain. There wasn't even any thunder. Did it scare you? I'm sorry. I shared my Brussels sprouts with you. Did that make you happy? You need a bell, Kate. We need to get you a place to sit out here and put a camera on you so everybody can see my pretty girl. Ursula, your hair is not gonna whoop me. By the way, anybody that may watch later on replay, if you would like a little crochet doll, I sell them for $20. I have Ursula. Well, I'm in the process of making Ursula. I have two Maleficents ready to go. I'm making Ursula. I'm gonna make Cruella de Vil and the Evil Queen from Snow White. And I'm looking for patterns for other Disney villains. I want to find Jafar. I also have patterns for Woody, Buzz, Jesse, and Bullseye. So if you're interested in those, I think I sell those for a little more because they're a little more intricate. I haven't made them in a while. Oh, I'm sleepy today. I swear this trout takes the Come on, Etsy, sign me in, you stupid thing. I need to see my patterns. Or as my stepdaughter says, pattern. That drives me crazy. She says pattern instead of pattern. Every time she does it, I want to smack her. that you've been trying to talk to me, and I didn't even realize it. And I don't know why StreamYard crashed. Everything was going fine. I thought it was going fine. Apparently, it wasn't. Turlet. Yeah, like Archie Bunker. What? Okay, now my YouTube. It says one watching, and I count at least two of us. Oh, now it says two. Okay, that was weird. Because it was working fine, and then it just went weird. It was cool when it rained, and now it's hot again. Some of the things you can find on Etsy worry me. Oh, yay, it's raining again. It must have heard me. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. It's little crochet bears, but they look like the Avengers. There's a Hulk and a Captain America, but they're bears. Oh, wait, but that doesn't work because there's a Wonder Woman. That's DC. You can't mix your franchises. There's Hulk, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider Man, but then there's Batman and Wonder Woman. They're still cute. They're on sale for $4 and they're normally 10. Oh, cool. That sounds like hard work. I wouldn't want to do that. I don't even use yarn that's like natural fibers. I use acrylic. I'm afraid of the natural, not afraid. I don't want it to like, I want to make something really nice for somebody and then them wash it and it shrink or get out of shape or something like that. So I just stick with the acrylic. I don't want to have to make anything that requires like special care instructions to go with it. I saw a video on YouTube that like if you want to get really nice yarn that's normally really expensive, you can go to a thrift store and buy sweaters and unravel them and wash the yarn and then ball it up and then you have yarn for a fraction of the cost that you would pay for a skein of yarn in a yarn store. Which I guess if you're hard up enough and you wanted really nice yarn, I don't think I want, even if you wash it good, I still, the knowledge that someone had worn that yarn on their body, I don't think I could do that. That would just be like cringe to me. Like, I really don't think I could do that. I've never tried that. Like, I've never even thought of doing that. I like the thought of making something out of nothing when it comes to like cross stitching something or crocheting something. But that, I mean, that's making something out of nothing, but that's like basic making something out of nothing. I just don't, I don't know. It just seems like a lot of work. I guess I'm too lazy for that. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. This one, I couldn't see the whole picture because it had something in the way. It's 200. Oh, they're not all like that. And the picture is still in the way when I make it bigger. Okay, that's weird. It's 200 plus cartoon amigurumi crochet patterns. But like Batman has Mickey Mouse ears instead of like the bat ears on his cowl. And Spider-Man has Mickey Mouse ears on top of his cowl. Why? See? Come on, more pictures. But the hair, you see the hair? Is that yarn? That looks like plastic hair. Oh, why are there no good pictures? Well, that one doesn't look plastic, but that looks like strands of like doll hair. I do because I live in Florida. You live in Florida. I don't layer in Florida. I rarely wear a sweater, period. I guess people where it's cold that wear sweaters don't wear them close to their skin, they layer. I've lost weight. I've worn heavier clothes than I ever have before. Well, this winter was colder too, though. But yeah, I layered this year probably for the first time in my life. Between being smaller and it being colder, oh yuck, I dropped my yarn. Got dog hair in it now. I want to make myself a cardigan. I want just like a big oversized cardigan that I can just like a comfort thing. You know how people have like a favorite blanket when they just want to curl up on the couch with a good book and throw a blanket. I want a big just cardigan to just like throw over me, like a comfort cardigan thing. But I haven't found a pattern that I like yet. And I don't know if I want to try to knit one because I knit. I know how, but I'm not good at it. I thought I wanted to learn, so I learned. I like crochet better. Except for clothing, I think knitting for clothing is prettier. And also,
Prior employment history with law enforcement.
After I graduated from the University of South Carolina
I hate when they do
in
that.
2008, I began my law enforcement career with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office in 2011 after I graduated the Criminal Justice Academy. I was there until 2016. I went to Greenville County Sheriff's Office in uniform patrol. I was in uniform patrol for about a year. I went to work in the white collar investigations unit. From there, I was promoted to the rank of master deputy in the armed robbery unit. I went to the homicide unit. I was there until 2023. I got promoted to the rank of sergeant. I went back to uniform patrol. I was there for a few months until a sergeant.
okay, I might have to go up to the next highest speed on the new internet.
Position came open in homicide, and that's where I currently am. I have attended multiple advanced homicide classes. There's a 2-week class that the University of Louisville puts on. It's a very prestigious class. Multiple other week-long classes for homicide investigations, along with other advanced week-long classes such as shooting reconstruction, interview and interrogation, classes like that.
And are you the one of the lead detectives or investigators in this case?
Yes, sir.
And how did you become the lead in this particular case?
So on October 13th, 2021, it was a Wednesday, around 11 o'clock, I was at my desk at the Law Enforcement Center. I was made aware that there was a homicide in Greer. I was deemed to be the lead investigator on the case. I was tasked with being the lead investigator on the case, and then I responded to the scene.
All right, so tell this jury about responding to the scene, and what you saw, and what you do.
When I got there, I meet with Uniform Patrol, get as much information as I can from them. For a homicide investigation, there's a lot of things that need to be done, and a lot of things that need to be done fairly quickly. So I delegated tasks.
What about, do you assess the scene and meet with different parties to figure out the situation?
Yes, sir. So one of the people that was on scene was Bradley Post. No, Bradley Post arrived in a small red Mercedes sports car. I was advised that
I'm tired. I just wrote uninformed patrol instead of uniformed patrol.
he found his fiance, Christina Parcel, deceased in the house. And then Mr. Post then went back to the law enforcement center to be interviewed while I remained on the scene.
And are you gathering sort of background information about the victim and the residents of everyone who's living there?
Yes. That house was lived in by Christina Parcel and her sister Tina, along with Christina's daughter Ida. I know that doing some other background investigations at that house, that there was priors for harassment and stalking that Ms. Parcel had filed a complaint on.
And
So we delegate tasks. One of the first things that I like to do that's important because it's time sensitive is capture cameras. I asked Investigator Stokes to canvass the neighborhood to look for any ring cameras, talk to any witnesses. A lot of times those ring cameras, or whatever cameras they are, if they're recording for nonstop, the data, the information, the footage that I need may not be there by the time I need it. So that's a time sensitive matter.
and did y'all start looking for ring cameras and those kind of things?
Yes, sir.
And were you delegating those out?
I was.
Were one of your leads did you talk with him about any relationship to this case?
I did.
And was it standard policy for you when you talk to somebody at this early in the stage, would you take a DNA sample of them?
Yes, at this point, we didn't have a lead. We didn't have a good lead. So anybody that we come in contact with that we feel like has a connection, we'll get a DNA sample.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 181 and ask you if you can identify that.
Give me over. Yes. This is still sealed, but I know that inside of this is the buccal swab that I got from Alex Fields.
So you did take his buccal swab?
I took it myself, yes, sir.
How did you do that?
It's a cotton swab. It's like a long Q-tip. You just swab it inside of their cheeks. You get 2 of them. You put it in a container, put the lid on it, and you seal it up.
Is that your JDS one? Is that?
Yes, sir.
You?
That's me. Yes, sir.
Jared
First,
Swab?
middle, and last name. Yes, sir.
And once you take the swab, you secure it in a tube,
Yes, sir.
and then what do you do with it?
I secured in property and evidence.
So y'all are out the scene, you're looking for any leads that you can possibly get. What's your first big break?
Investigator Stokes comes to me. I'm speaking with Christina's sister, Tina, in my vehicle. He comes to me and says, we got some footage from right across the street at 121 Canebrake, which y'all seen. That's huge because not only does that give us a description of our suspect, but also gives us a time frame to start narrowing our search down for.
And so that was the ring camera of the suspect walking into the front door?
Yes, sir. That was the ring camera that shows white male in dark clothing with a backpack going into the front door of 122 Canebrake Drive.
And so from there, what did you necessarily do? By doing that, how does that narrow your investigation?
Well, we know that at that time, at 9:15 in the morning, we know that that's when our suspect goes in. So we focus, we start at 9:15, we work our way out. We work forwards and backwards to try to get any video that we can find of the suspect entering the area, leaving the area, how he got there, things like that.
All right, so when was the first time you ever heard the name Zach Hughes?
First time I ever heard that name was October 22nd, 2021, when we were speaking with Michael Manigault in the interview room.
So that was your first lead towards him.
Yes, sir.
And up until that time, what have y'all been doing?
We've been interviewing and in as many people as we could that we feel like had information for this case. People that had connections to Mr. Mello, people that knew Tina, that knew Christina, just that knew everybody. We didn't have much to go on other than that ring camera. So we were just talking as many people as we could.
Now, you spoke to Mr. Manigault. Did you take his DNA sample? Not you personally, but was his DNA taken?
His DNA was taken, yes, sir.
I think it was taken by Master Deputy Wolf.
I believe so.
Did you take his phone?
Yes, sir.
And did you send that over to be downloaded and reviewed?
We did.
So was it sort of normal protocol to take DNA samples and phones from individuals that may be potentially related to this case?
Yes, sir. There was a connection with Mr. Manigault and Mr. Mello, and obviously we know Mr. Mello was going through this heated child custody battle. And, we didn't have much to go on. We were still grinding away. So we just want to get as much information as we can. And if we don't need it, we don't need it, but at least we have it.
And so was your next big break was the flock camera?
Yes, sir. When we were speaking with Mr. Manigault, Investigator Wolf, who spoke to y'all earlier, he went and did some research on Mr. Hughes, and did some research, found his truck, found him on a flock camera, as you saw the day of the murder, with that bicycle in the back of his truck. And that was the only day that that bicycle was in the back of that truck.
So is that when y'all were able to get a warrant for 200 Tyndall?
Yes, sir.
Was that the residence of Zach Hughes?
Yes, sir.
And at 200 Tyndall, is that first time you all really laid eyes on Zach Hughes?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to seize his phone?
We did.
And what do you do when you seize these phones? I know there's multiple phones. You obviously seized and took the victim's phone.
Yes, sir.
Christina Parcel's.
Yes, sir.
So with Zach Hughes' phone, what do you do with it?
We take it and we get a search warrant for it, and we send it to our unit that does data extractions on cell phones, and they get as much information off of that cell phone as they can.
And now once those downloads are produced and put in that, I think Jim Perry talked about Cellbrite Reader, and I think we spent a lot of time looking at Cellbrite Reader just a moment ago. Do you review that with the experts on the phone side, or y'all coordinate with that information that you derive from that phone?
Yes, sir. We review it. I'll review it on my own. I'll review it with them because, they're more familiar with that process. So we do it together.
Okay. And what are you looking for inside those phones?
Looking for anything from pictures to location data to phone calls. We look through the address book, looking through.
And on Zach Hughes' phone, we've heard some testimony to it. Were you able to locate WhatsApp messages?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall sort of the difficulty in those WhatsApp messages that you had in your investigation?
Yes, sir.
Tell this jury about that.
So those WhatsApp messages, when they were recovered from Zach Hughes' cell phone, when we got them, they were in a scrambled state. The words weren't in order how they should be. It made no sense. And the reason for that is when a WhatsApp is deleted from a device and then recovered using what they use to do the forensic download of the phone, when they're recovered, they're in a scrambled state.
And now in WhatsApp, if we communicate with each other on my phone to your phone in WhatsApp, is there any way to get that information from the WhatsApp corporate office?
No, WhatsApp is encrypted end to end. We'll send a search warrant to WhatsApp, and there's nothing they can give us as far as the meat and potatoes of these conversations. What they'll give us is the account information of each number, of each WhatsApp number, and that's basically it.
And did you in fact send a search warrant for WhatsApp?
We did.
And did you get any of these messages from WhatsApp?
No, sir.
Now, did you review all of those WhatsApps?
Yes, sir.
And about how many WhatsApps do you think you reviewed?
It was a lot, hundreds and hundreds.
Enough to fill a thick binder?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you went through all of those?
Yes, sir.
And in those WhatsApps, when you're reading the messages, are the words in a coherent order, or do you have to kind of analyze what they are?
I have to analyze what they are.
And did you analyze what they are in relation to the facts that of this investigation?
Yes, sir.
All right, and were you able to pull relevant WhatsApp messages that you believe to be relevant to this investigation?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you what's already been into evidence, States Exhibit 173. So what is States Exhibit 173?
This is the first page of the report that was extracted from Zach Hughes' cell phone. and it shows a WhatsApp conversation. And this conversation is between Zach Hughes and John Mello.
And so would this be the first WhatsApp communication between those two individuals
Yes,
that you recovered?
that we recovered. Yes, sir.
All right. What's the date of that?
December 7th, 2020.
Is that October 7th?
I'm sorry, October 7th, 2020.
Is that better?
Yes.
And so it says instant messages, and up there, what's that number right there?
1,769.
And what does this say right here?
That says scrambled.
And is this date accurate right here? I mean, the time in which it was sent accurate?
Yes, sir.
How do you know that?
I know that when Cellbrite provides the report, they automatically adjust the time to make it correct.
So it's in Eastern
They
Standard
they
Time.
go from, they convert it, I guess is a better way to put it, convert it from UTC to Eastern Standard Time.
All right, and so this first message from Zach, and I'm assuming that's Zach up there.
Yes, this report, it pulled a picture of Zach Hughes, and also when we got the return back from WhatsApp, it did give us that picture as his profile picture. It's his picture. It has his telephone number that ends in 0020. It says Zachary Hughes owner.
And so what is this first message on October 7th, 2020 at 11:40 a.m.?
It says it's John Zach.
So when we're talking about scramble, is this an easy sort of example of the scramble?
Yes, sir. I feel confident I could unscramble that.
So what do you think? What would you derive from that as far as your investigation?
Well, knowing that this text is from John Mello, because it has right here his number at whatsapp.net and says John Mello. We know that's his number because that number was in his email signature from the Google emails that we sent. So I know it says Zach. I know it says Zach. It's John.
And you also know that. Do you know that Zach spells his name Z-A-C-K?
I do know that. I know that some documents were located in his room at 200 Tyndall, and that's how the name was spelled on it.
And then this would be a response right there. And so again, it says, what does it say?
It says scrambled.
All right, and this little dot there.
So that little red, it's an X. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's an X, and that's on all of these messages from both parties. That means that this was a deleted WhatsApp that was recovered.
And so who was the response from?
The response is from Zachary Hughes, and I know that because it has Zachary Hughes' phone number, ends in 0020.
And he's in green, is that correct?
Yes, sir. On all of these messages that you will see, the ones on the left in blue are all from John Mello. The ones on the right in green are all from Zachary Hughes.
All right, and so what does this message say?
I'm going to read it as is. It reads, is on it other the my man how side.
And
I interpret-
in your interpretation of that, this is your interpretation in relation to your investigation, correct?
Yes, sir. I interpret that as how's it going on the other side, something to that extent. And I believe I know that because I know that at this time, Mr. Mello was on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in Italy. Mr. Hughes was in the United States.
All right, I'm going to show you some more that, and we'll go through them best we can. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 183. Show you states Exhibit 183. See if you recognize that.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury what that is?
This is a printout of some more WhatsApp messages between John Mello and Zach Hughes from April the 16th of 2021 to April the 17th of 2021.
Your Honor, state moves Exhibit 183 into evidence. Now, okay. All right, you said the dates are April 16th, 2021. Put us in context of what's going on in this particular case in April of 2021.
If you recall, April of 2021 is when Christina was able to go to Italy and bring Aida back to the United States, to South Carolina.
All right. So there is the first message, and it's in blue. So who's it from?
This is from John Mello.
All right, and what does that message say?
Up in WhatsApp, you was setting sorry.
In relation to this investigation, do you have any significant interpretation of that?
It says WhatsApp in there.
What's that? So you derive, it's talking about WhatsApp.
It's talking about this application.
And then the next one is, what's the date of that one?
The date is 4/17, April 17th, 2021.
At what time?
It's at 6:55 a.m.
And
This is from John Mello. It says, secret phone number got I dude private Christina's.
so how did you interpret that in relation to this investigation?
I interpret that as, dude, I've got Christina's private number.
And then what looks like 2 minutes later, what's the date on that?
The same date, April 17th, 21 at 6:57 a.m.
And what does that one say?
This is a message from John Mello. It says, harass shit of her 5142. We can the 864 out 483.
So how did you interpret that in relation to this case?
I believe he's saying harass the shit out of her.
Oh, man.
Back to the top. What is that first message there?
This is a message from John Mello on April 17th of 21 at 8:33 a.m. He sends a JPEG image. You can't tell, you don't know what the image is. It didn't recover the image, only that an image was sent.
All right, so why can't you recover the images?
Because it's encrypted. The fact that it was encrypted and the fact that it was deleted from his phone, the images weren't able to be recovered.
The next one?
The next one's from John Mello, same date at 8:33 a.m. It says, email please to this me photo.
And Zach Hughes' response?
Excellent, haha.
Now, you don't know what that photo is.
No, sir.
Do you know when John Mello emailed Zach Hughes photos of Christina Parcel with no clothes on? We've looked at it all morning.
I know it was around this time. I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was around this time.
What about May, middle of May?
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? Back to the top.
This is a message from Zach Hughes to John Mello. The same date at 8:37, just did. He, right after that, says, of her photo, great. Great photo of her is how I see that. John Mello just shortly after, responds with thanks. And then I don't have an interpretation for that. This is also on April 17th of 21 at 8:38. Zach Hughes messages, let's talk later, next hour's teaching. I'm the 6 4 but. I translate that as, let's talk later, I'm teaching. He's busy teaching something, likely piano lessons or some type of musical lessons. He then states shortly after, you stop thinking, guys, been about none. And Mr. Mello responds with thanks, okay. And then thank you, brother. This message is from John Mello, April 17th of 21 at 8:39. It states, dollar burner phone, buy cheap, a store. I interpret that he's telling him to buy cheap burner phone from a store. He then states, haha, something else, no for. And then he states, message, ignore that last, shortly after. Then Mr. Mello again states, burner pay, get, will, I, a, but.
What do you interpret that as?
It looks like he's saying he'll pay for the burner phone.
What do people use burner phone?
A lot of people use training experience. They use burner phones when they don't want, what's on there to come out. A lot of it's used in a lot of drug deals. It's just a cheap phone that people can get. They're not associated with that number, and they can toss it when they're finished with it.
All right. I'm gonna move on to another day. I'm gonna show you state 184. City States 184. You recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Are those the WhatsApp messages that we reviewed, we've been discussing?
These are still the WhatsApp messages in the same
Sorry, I have no idea what's going on this afternoon. This is weird. I guess. I don't know. Like, why? This is an old guy, right? He's an older guy. And he's picked this young guy to like harass his ex for him. It's bizarre.
Daughters present mother, JPEG, gentlemen and ladies, Parcel. I interpret that as, ladies and gentlemen, I present Christina's mother.
And then, is there a second?
What?
There's
I
a second
present
image.
Christina's mother.
It's another unknown JPEG image.
And what about that?
At 8:18 p.m., the message states Warren Escort Caroline, AKA Sweet. That's relevant in this investigation because, as you saw from some of the items that were in these packages that were mailed out, Caroline Warren's name, the name Caroline Warren was on there.
So those were the items that were in the packages.
Yes, sir.
Show you State's Exhibit 185.
I hope he was compensated. Like, I'm not going to jail for anybody. Like, what did he owe this guy to do this kind of stuff for him? Or what did he have on him? You think he had something on him? I don't know. This is such a weird case. I don't know. So why isn't he in jail for conspiracy? That's what I want to know. Shouldn't he be charged with something too?
So you State's 185.
These are more of the WhatsApp messages between John Mello and Zachary Hughes. These are dated from May 23rd, 21 to July the 3rd of 2021.
State moves 185 in the evidence. Without objection. Objection. And we'll start at the top with the date.
This is from Mr. Mello to Mr. Hughes on May 23rd, 2021 at 2:13 p.m. Just states no. The following message is the following day, May 24th at 3:42 a.m. It states, part the is writing its best. A few hours later at 8:15, Mello states, listen, should make that you from today, Greenville, thinking And then a couple minutes later, he sends a message that says mail.
Why did that grab your attention?
That grabbed my attention because he's talking about mailing things from the Greenville area. And I know that,
Potentially.
right, potentially. And I know that we've got these, I know about these letters that have been sent out. So it piqued my interest. Mello states on the same date at 8:17 a.m. an outside mailbox.
And then does Zach Hughes respond?
Yes, sir. Zach Hughes responds at 8:18 a.m., says, all right. He follows that up with a message, and it reads, I'm riding bike my way that. I interpret that as I'm riding my bike that way. And then right after that, he states, the message says, B want camera on truck. The truck won't be on camera.
Now more for John Mello.
John Mello at 8
My camera.
outs
I don't know
info
what's happening.
flight mailed from in Wood, same mark, the it's Charlotte. I think you skipped over one. You come down a little bit. Then Mello states, it says puts Charlotte in you, puts you in Charlotte. Mr. Mello then states at 8:20 a.m., it says, and sunglasses, baseball, wear a hat. He's saying, wear a baseball hat and sunglasses.
Now, did you, in viewing Mr. Hughes' phone, were you able to determine if whether Mr. Hughes visited Mr. Mello?
Yes,
And what about time what date did he visit Mr. Mello?
it was in June, early June of 2021.
How do you know that?
That is from just conversations that were pulled from messages from his cell phone.
Was there also a video on Zach's phone, Hughes, that you?
Yes,
looked at?
a video was pulled from Zach Hughes' cell phone, and it was a FaceTime. It was a recording of a FaceTime between John Mello and Aida Mello.
And who was doing the recording of the FaceTime?
I believe it was Zach Hughes that was doing the recording from his phone.
And who was he with in the recording?
John Mello and Zach Hughes were together.
And who was John Mello talking to?
John Mello's talking to Aida.
And about what time was that?
That was May 31st, 2021.
And was John Mello in Italy?
John Mello was in Italy. Therefore, Zach was in Italy.
All right. And then finally, they continued this conversation.
Yes, sir. They continue at 8:20 a.m. John Mello's, the message says, misspelling of phone, lobby your into or Poinsett on go, the hotel upstairs, down, sit, and play. I believe he's saying go to the Poinsett Hotel and sit down upstairs and play, likely the piano, because that's what his background is in. At 8:21, still on May 24th, John Mello states nice. A minute later, it says, time you post downtown 27, he has even our postman, it made camera 2 gets by office if on stops the. I know that he's talking about a postman and he's talking about a camera. He then states, from come it anywhere would. I look at that and see it could come from anywhere.
And then what does Zach Hughes say?
At 8:24 a.m., it states, bought gray baseball yesterday, a nondescript cap.
So as far as your investigation is concerned, how did you interpret that?
With these last few messages, they're obviously trying to conceal identity, trying to keep out of view of cameras that may be nearby.
And did Zach Hughes respond? Did you respond?
At 8:24, it states from Zach Hughes, drop just my ride in a box, in an box, it, I'll, and somewhere outside bike.
So what is your interpretation of that?
He's talking about riding his bike somewhere and dropping something in a box outside.
And what does he say?
Then states, good point. Mr. Mello responds at 8:25. This message states, too hard there or find. I interpret that as they are hard to find, likely. Mr. Mello then states, office post throughs drive are at the they. Something about post office.
And these are all from Mr. Mello?
Yes, sir. We're still in blue. Mr. Mello at 8:26. This message says buying the you online or postage. I think he's saying, he's asking, are you buying the postage online? Then says, this message states, just that by UA, but B are heavy will Shramo easy letters
I think we're all
And then
missing
stamp.
something.
is the next message.
I think they're not connecting certain dots.
Following message is 8:27 from Mr. Mello. And Staples postage, it can sell, I think, way.
Now, earlier Zach Hughes referred to riding a bike to drop it off.
Yes, sir.
Is that important in this case?
I think it's extremely important. We obviously saw video of our suspect leaving the scene on a bicycle.
Because at what point did he decide to go
At
farther than
8:41 a.m.
harassment?
Zach Hughes, this message says, of I know one. Then the next message is good thought.
And did he get there on his own, or did John Mello tell him?
John Mello responds with sets you getting R2. It looks like he's asking, are you getting 2 sets?
Zach Hughes says what?
Yes. Zach Hughes, we're at 9:04 a.m. now. This message says, you let know it was much how cash paying. And then first by IAU updated thumb drive go have I'll keep 2. John Mello responds with cool okay.
Thumb drive.
Thumb drive sticks out, paying cash sticks out. Obviously, it's harder to track paying cash if you use a credit card, debit card.
All right. And what's the date of this?
We're May 24th of 21. This is at 9:07 a.m. It's the next message John Mello sends, and it says, to ruin going their weekend. Going to ruin their weekend.
Who do you think there is referring to?
I think there is referring to Miss Parcel and everybody that received those letters.
Zach's response. Zach Hughes' response.
Yes, sir. Same date, 7:17 p.m. This message, it reads, in hold on can I-5 talk. At 8:21, PM, the message from Zach Hughes states, before Zoom, Stathicus, we if won't, and thee can chat. Mello responds at 7:18 a.m. on the 26th at call 9:15. And we are at July the 3rd of 21. This is 1:09. Zach Hughes responds with headed marina, friends, I'm with to thee. John Mello responds at 1:09 p.m. on July the 3rd, 1 minute call,
Which is probably
call in 1 minute. This is at 1:45 p.m. from Zach to John. It reads, sounds is on post like low funds.
now. Do you see how he spells post?
Yes, sir.
I'm referring to States Exhibit 2. How is post spelled on this envelope on States Exhibit 2?
It's incorrectly spelled POAST.
And what was the other response?
From Zach, it states could from benefit as well, check blank A. Could benefit from a blank check. How I look at it.
No, they scramble it when
All right, I'm
they
gonna move on to
cover it. Stupid.
October 12th. Some more WhatsApps.
A 6-year-old can figure out what it says. I don't know why they scramble it. When he said scrambled, I thought they were going to be like every letter all scrambled up. I didn't know it was going to be the words. I'm like, what's the point?
Show your States Exhibit 186. These additional WhatsApps, just like the ones we were reviewing.
Yes, sir.
Start date on those.
Start date on this is October 12th, 2021.
State moves 186 in evidence. Objection.
Yeah, I guess it could be misconstrued.
Starts.
There was one he couldn't figure out, but 1 out of 1,000.
John
I
Mello
mean,
in
that's
blue.
pretty good.
John Mello still in blue, and this first message is dated October 12th, 2021 at 8:58 p.m. It reads, her arms who chopped off.
And what do you think you're referring to?
Who chopped off her arms?
I think it should read, who chopped off her arms. I think he's referring to Christina Mello, or Christina Parcel.
Photo.
Yes,
Photo of Christina
a photo of Christina Parcel.
All right, and then this next one.
Same date. No, I'm sorry. This is on October the 13th, 2021 at 10:06 a.m. Burden.
Sorry, is this Mello
This
sending this
is
message?
from John Mello to Zachary Hughes. Burden if way, but Aida, life, like family, finally, beg down case and lawyer love, more doomed, been a count think, than not listening is totally nothing, her it matter as I, 14 November, at would so leave, has me stake you to point, let have all even taking our due, close, stay we, she, and us right of hate control, brother, no needs, was this can very far, your for come say with on thee. I don't know what it says. I know it's talking about a burden. I know that it mentions a lawyer. I know it mentions Aida.
And at what time does Zach respond on October 13th, 2021?
Zach Hughes responds at 11:36 a.m. on October 13th, 2021 with LOL.
And then again,
The next message right after it reads, I know, brother.
Well, that's two we couldn't figure out.
going to, what's the date?
We're still on October 13th, 21
At
at
what time?
11:36 a.m.
That's current time, that's local time, right?
That's local time. Zach Hughes' message states, let's talk in a bit. The following message, still on the 13th at 2:48 p.m. It reads, soon we'll working up later catch in week, I'm never mind thee. John Mello responds on October 13th, 21 at 2:49 p.m. And it reads, asleep till fell I was 5-man Saudi jug.
And then Zach Hughes responds,
At 2:50 p.m. No worries, man. Still on October 13th at 2:50, John Mello sends this message, and it reads, 3 now couldn't information sense thing after another. Thee are single bit I sleep today, our raising it's here at fees worried. Ain't building 1 weeks or not lawyer. I'm maintenance in can't of OTS about everything they'll.
Well, I
Hey,
stand
Lance.
corrected again. The longer they are, the harder
And
they
follows
are
that
to
up
figure
a minute
out.
later with, and it reads, up be you or woke. Again, me night, GLSD,
any significance?
It looks to be like it's talking about nighttime, woke me up, possibly. Zach Hughes responds at 2:51 p.m. This message reads, just manager got well, I, LOL, texted work at off the night. And then a minute later, Zach Hughes sends a message and it reads, chat let's in little a bit.
Let's chat in a little bit. Yeah, they're harder when they're longer. Yeah, I stand corrected.
And then
October 13th, 2021 at 2:52 p.m., John Mello sends Zach Hughes a message. And it reads, that did research on music, how go?
that's October 13th, 2021.
Yes, sir.
And what did he respond?
At 2:53 p.m., the message reads, phone over, tell you good, the I'll.
How do you interpret that?
Good, I'll tell you over the phone. And Mr. Mello responds with cool.
Is that the last WhatsApp that was ever recovered?
Yes,
And do you recall Investigator Perry's testimony about how long the conversation they had in the afternoon of the 13th?
I do.
How long was that?
Believe it was about 1 hour and 20 minutes.
What did you interpret that music research as?
I don't believe it was really music research. I believe John Mello sent a message to Zach Hughes in code.
His interpretation of what wants to say.
All right. So, Investigator Sparkman, did you also reviewed the Gmails between John Mello and Zachary Hughes.
Yes, sir.
And I know in the entire team, they just sent out search warrants for those Gmails.
Yes, sir.
And as far as numbers of Gmails from John Mello's email address and Zach Hughes' email address, how many emails do you think you received between the two of those?
Hundreds. It fills up a large 3-ring binder.
All right, so did you cull it down to emails just between John Mello and Zach Hughes?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what State's Exhibit 190 marks identification purposes. Can you look at that?
Yes, sir. These are the emails between Zach Hughes and John Mello.
And then you've got the
Did you have the occasion
supposition argument.
to review those?
Yes.
And do you know when those emails began?
Yes, sir. They began August 29th of 2020.
And when did they end?
They ended October 20th of 2021.
Okay, is that when John Mello returned home?
Yes, sir.
Home back to the United States?
Yes, sir.
Now, in reviewing all of these Gmails between Zach Hughes and John Mello, what was the basic theme involved in all of these?
That Zachary Hughes was very involved, extremely involved with.
I object to
Again.
this kind of summary. I mean, they have specific emails that they would like.
And now they're gonna approach and we're gonna sit here for another freaking half an hour with nothing. Just like yesterday. What do I have to do to make you happy? I got new internet. I wonder if her family's there. the the dots that aren't connecting for me. The other guy, the guy that they got Zach Hughes' name from. I don't get how they got his name. That dot is not connected for me. When did Zach Hughes decide that he was going to kill her? Did John Mello ask him to kill her? Or did he decide on his own? Did he decide harassing this woman wasn't enough and now he was going to do that? Or did John Mello ask him?
I'm sorry.
Is this gonna be,
The dots aren't connecting for
you
me.
got a little bit longer?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and that's fine. Hey, it sounds like our jury needs to take a quick restroom break. I don't normally like to do that mid-testimony, but I also want to take care of my jury. So we're gonna take a 5-10 minute break, okay?
Yay. 5-10 minute break is going to turn into a half hour. This is going to be just like yesterday. I know. This is the strangest trial. It's just everything is just so bizarre. The ex is trying to make everybody think that she was some kind of escort or something, when in reality, she most likely wasn't. The pictures are most likely intimate pictures of her ex and her. But was it snowing? So they're probably pictures of him and her, and he's trying to make it look like she's living an unsavory lifestyle, which I guess in reality she was, but did he know? If he knew that that she and Post were doing the bad pics of the kid and the pets, they're not allowed to talk about that in this trial. But if that was motive, I guess, because if that was motive for the murder, then maybe the jury wouldn't want to convict. Is that why they're keeping that out? And I can see why a father would want that to stop. But I don't think that's why he wanted to harass her. I think he just wanted custody of his kid. I think those are two separate issues. But I can understand why the defense keeps wanting to get those in. He's trying, man. He is trying. He's dancing around it. He's trying to get them to open the door. But they're doing really good at laying foundation. Like all these little 2-question witnesses, they're putting these people on so that when the following witness, the cop that's investigating, when they say their name, we know who they were. So we're going, what in the heck was that witness even for? The reason they were there, we find out with the next witness. So they're laying foundation, and they're doing a good job of laying the foundation. But I'm still confused on the 3 main points. I'm confused. 3, 4. I've lost track of what I'm confused on now. The Manigault dude, how did they get his name? Why did they even question him? Because they they somehow found out he was friends with her ex? Maybe, I guess. I don't know. But they got Zach Hughes' name from him. Why did Zach do it? Did John Mello ask him to, or did he just decide that the harassment wasn't enough and he needed to do something more? And three, why did he do this for John Mello? Like, I'm sorry, but you gotta be a darn good friend or paying me. Well, I'm not gonna do that for anybody. I'm just saying, if you're that type of person, you're either gonna have to be a darn good friend, paying a large sum of money, or paying off some debts or something like that, or blackmailing. You gotta have something on the person. There's got to be a good reason. I mean, you're not going to just go do that for somebody out of the goodness of your heart. And like I said, unless it's someone that's very, very special to you, like somebody that helped raise you or something like that. So, why is he doing this for this man? And why is this man not in jail? Unless unless they made a deal with him and he's going to be the star witness, but we haven't seen him yet. Unless they're going to leave him till last and be the star witness, but then he's going to get cross examined. I don't know. This is such a weird trial. And we've watched some weird ones. For me to be this far into the trial, I mean, yeah, it's day 3, but still, this far into the trial and still have these kinds of questions. I mean, usually these kind of questions are already answered by now. In opening, usually. Oh, like when he was there? Like he went there to do something else? And then thought there was imminent danger to the child? Oh, I have another question. During the lunch break, because I did go lay down and then I was afraid I was going to fall asleep. So I got back up. And I went to Ada K's channel just to say hi because she came to my channel to say hi earlier today. Um, she thinks that the flowers was that she used flowers that she had to beat off her attacker. And I was kind of thinking that he brought the flowers with him to like stage the scene to make it just look like a bizarre thing that happened. Yeah, maybe. So what do you think? Did they even mention the flowers in opening? The opening was weird. He was saying stuff in opening that they usually say in voir dire when they explain the things that happen at a trial. Like you're the finder of facts and that sort of thing. And I was like, what? Don't you usually tell them that in voir dire? This is the point where you tell them about the facts of the case. Maybe it's because the last trial that we watched had such a strong opening. The first thing the prosecutor said was fucking faggot in the last trial that we watched. And this one stood up and told them how a trial worked. And they should have already heard that in voir dire. So maybe it's a juxtaposition between the last trial and I don't know. But yeah, I want some dots connected because And then the defense stood up and was like, we reserve our opening until after the state's done with their case. And I was like, well, great. Now I know nothing. I'm going into this trial knowing nothing except that somebody died. Thanks for that. Jeez. And I knew, we know more than the jury does. So what are they thinking right now? But so now I'm confused about the flowers because I thought the flowers were like supposed to be some kind of a message. But now somebody else implied that maybe she beat off her attacker with a bouquet. Yeah, that's not, yeah, the jury is supposed to be the finder of facts, not the detectives. The detectives are supposed to present evidence. And the jury gets to take all the evidence back there with them. They don't take what what is said on the stand. They don't take that back with them. They take those messages scrambled, that goes back with them. Not what the detective said on the stand. So they get to look at the scrambled messages and they get to decide. Maybe they'll look at the ones that he couldn't decipher and come up with what they think it means. But is it not stupid to type that stuff, put that kind of stuff in writing, even if it is on a WhatsApp? People should know by now in this day and age that things can be retrieved. I mean, look at the Murdoch trial. Bubba solved the case from that wasn't WhatsApp. What was that one? Snapchat. But and the crazy thing was, y'all know I'm a little slow sometimes. I didn't get that the pictures were not really from a real website till probably way later than everybody else. I thought she really was an escort. And I was like, oh, she's even worse than I thought she was. And everybody that I've talked to says that she knew all about what um she knew all about what her fiance was doing. What mother lets their fiance, well, Madeline Soto's mom, let Steven Stearns do whatever he wanted? So I guess it's some moms do, I guess. Oh, yay, they're back. I hope. He looks. Oh, he smiled. Okay. He looked mad there for a minute. I was fixing to say, what happened?
Okay.
Please continue. Thank you.
Thank you, All right, who's the court? Investigative Department, you would identify State's Exhibit 190 for identification purposes only. Again, tell us what that was.
These are email communications between Zach Hughes and John Mello.
And the dates of the first email to the last email.
First one is August 29th of 2020. The last one is October the 20th of 2021.
Okay. And you were able to review those those emails.
Well, I started taking notes on the messages, and then it was so many of them. I just like I can't even keep up with all these dates and times and messages, so I gave up. So it'll all go back to the jury room with them. It'll be fine.
Yes,
And you sort of analyze them the same way you did the WhatsApp in relation to your investigation.
I did.
And in those emails, as
Probably.
between Zach Hughes and John Mello, is Zach Hughes either what I'll call CC'd or blind copied on emails from John Mello to various family court attorneys?
Yes, there are a lot of those emails that John Mello sends to attorneys or other people regarding the child custody dispute. Zach Hughes is either CC'd on them or blind copied on them.
All right. Are there emails where Zach Hughes assists John Mello in writing emails or not motions, maybe papers regarding the child custody dispute, or corrects or edits some of that information regarding the child custody dispute for John Mello?
There are.
Are there emails where Zach Hughes is, are there emails where John Mello tells the family court attorney that Zach Hughes is allowed to communicate with the attorney?
Yes.
And that is regarding the child custody case over he and Christina Parcel's daughter.
Yes, sir.
And are there emails where Zach Hughes himself is communicating directly with John Mello's family court attorney?
Yes, sir.
And are there instances where Zach Hughes is maybe running errands or doing things in furtherance of the child custody?
Yes, sir.
And are there emails between Zach Hughes and John Mello discussing the child custody?
There are lots of them.
Okay. And what are those saying?
They're just talking about the situation. Mr. Mello's getting frustrated. You could tell he's getting frustrated based on words that he uses. Going to different attorneys. John Mello's talking about how he's getting frustrated with attorney A, that we need to reach out to a different attorney.
And are a lot of these, I know they started in when they began in October and August, from around April to October 13th, that time frame. Would that be the time frame when Aida was given custody to Christina Parcel and Aida moved back to South Carolina?
Yes, sir.
In that time frame, were there a lot of those emails regarding the custody dispute?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that Zach Hughes was well aware of the custody dispute between Christina Parcel and John Mello?
Yes, sir.
And finally, were the emails, communications between Zach Hughes and John Mello, were they caring for each other?
Yes.
In what way?
There's messages in there where one tells the other they love them. The other one will say, love you back.
All right. In addition to your duties as investigator, did you review Zach Hughes's photos on his phone?
Yes, sir.
And we've had prior testimony, but those are downloaded. The photos inside his phone are then downloaded as the images in which they're in there.
Yes, sir.
And you reviewed all those?
I did.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 188.
I missed it. I was talking to Travis. The cop said that, or the prosecutor?
What is State's Exhibit 188?
This is an image that was recovered from Zach Hughes's phone. It appears to be a picture of some typing that states to John Mello and his lawyer.
So do you recognize this?
I do.
And where was this, what date was this, photo captured on his phone?
I believe it was August 13th of 2020.
2021?
Yes, sir.
State moves 188 in evidence.
Objection. Objection, ladies.
All right, what does this say?
To John Mello and his lawyer, please find enclosed photos and advertisements of Christina Parcel, AKA Caroline Warren.
Now, how was that related to your investigation?
Well, as we've touched on before, the name Caroline Warren appeared on these printouts that were mailed in these photos to various people.
Next, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 187. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 187. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
This is an image that was recovered from Zachary Hughes's cell phone,
It was recovered from what area of his cell phone?
his photos.
So would it be a snap or a screenshot, I guess is what they call it?
Yes, this appears to be a screenshot of an image that was recovered from Zach's photos.
State moves 187 into evidence. Without objection.
Objection, 187, that's part of the record.
All right. And so what is this image?
This is an image, the date on this image is June 23rd of 2021 that the reports showed for this image. But this is an image of a message conversation where someone sends the address of 122 Canebrake Drive, Greer, South Carolina, 29650 to, if you pull it down just a little bit for me, the opposite way. So this is a conversation involving John Mello.
All right, and why is a snapshot of that address important?
Because now John Mello knows where Christina lives.
And if John Mello knows where Christina lives, who else knows?
Zach Hughes.
This was on Zach's phone.
Yes.
One last one. State's Exhibit 189.
why is there so much dead air? I don't think that the prosecutor is prepared half the time. I think that's what it is. I think he lacks the necessary preparation skills to be an attorney. We're waiting. Can you whisper to the witness when they're on the stand? What was that?
Hey, please, I think we may have to have a contact about the prices of living.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I see you back to your room.
Exact same thing that happened yesterday. And why does it say only one person is watching? Because that would be me. Did you leave me just because? Or did my stuff go haywire again? Do I need to reload? Well, while nothing is happening, I'm gonna. Oh no, you're still here. this this is my problem with this trial. They go on breaks or sidebars or whatever in the heck, and they don't say anything. I hate not knowing what's happening. Other judges have the courtesy. I know they don't like being on camera, but at least other judges have the courtesy to say, we need to take a break for however many minutes, and they come back when they say they're going to come back. Or we need to discuss something outside the presence of the jury, and if they don't want us to watch it, they at least tell us what's going on. They don't just put the camera on the seal. No, I'm fine. I'm just gonna sit here and wait like everybody else. I just don't know what happened. He acted like he didn't know what he was gonna do next, and then he walked up to the witness, and either he whispered or the mics were off, and then they showed the seal. So I don't know what happened. And I suppose sidebar. Well, we never get to hear sidebars, but when he excuses the jury, usually we get to hear that. And I guess the reason why we're not hearing that in this trial is because he's afraid that something might get leaked to the media and then get leaked back to the jury. Because I guess he's really wanting to keep the child picture stuff out, even as much as that defense attorney is tiptoeing around trying to get somebody to open the door. I think it's funny. He's trying his hardest. I think it's so funny. I mean, the subject matter isn't funny. I think it's funny the way he's trying to get them to mention it. Because he's trying to get them to say something that would open the door, but he's trying to do it without getting himself in trouble. And for us that know what he's doing, it's funny. And the jury's probably thinking, what is he trying to get them to say? Can we turn the sound back on? I'm so glad that wasn't as the one yesterday. I guess now I know how the jury feels when they're sitting in the jury room waiting and waiting and waiting and have no idea what's going on. shoot, I thought they were gonna start back again. No, the camera operator just decided to put the camera on the detective instead of the seal.
So going back to the emails real briefly, Investigator Sparkman, based on those emails, is it fair to say that John Mello was fighting hard for custody of his daughter?
Yes, sir.
And Zach was fully aware of what was going on.
Yes.
What is the one clear way that John Mello could be assured that he would get custody of his daughter?
By making sure that Christina Parcel was dead.
Now, briefly, did you establish a timeline of sort of events based on this entire investigation
Yes, sir.
that were important events? And before you did that, did you also look at the phone and to Zach Hughes's phone regarding airplane mode?
I did.
And were you able to determine if he'd ever put it out of airplane mode on October 13th?
Yes, sir. I did.
And what were the two times in which it came out of airplane mode?
At 2:22 p.m. and at 2:32 p.m.
All right. And why am I saying out of airplane mode?
Because I don't believe the extractions show when the phone is put into airplane mode, only when it comes out of airplane mode.
All right, so I'm going to show you what's State's Exhibit. $191. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 191. Do you recognize this?
Yes.
Did you assist in preparing this?
Yes.
And what is it?
This is a timeline of the locations of Zachary Hughes beginning on October 11th through October 13th.
And what information is this based on?
This is based on a combination of things: device location from his phone, witnesses, device location, a trail cam that was introduced, Ring doorbell cameras, flock cameras, just different events that were pulled from Mr. Hughes's phone that had a location with it.
All of those are in evidence.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to get you to briefly go through this with the jury. I'm trying to avoid technology. State moves 191 into evidence. No objection.
Not objection.
Mr. Spartan, investigator, if you want to step down right here, if you want, please speak loud so that you can see.
Yes, sir. So the first day on here is October 11th, and this timeline shows that between 10:05 and 10:56 a.m., it shows where the trail cam captured Zachary Hughes at 799 Indian Flats Trail, the Mountain House. It shows on October the 12th at 1:07 p.m., his phone put him at 210. At 1:18 p.m., his phone puts him at John Mello's house. From 6:56 p.m. to 1:30 a.m., his phone puts him back at the Mountain House. At 4:30 a.m., It shows that his phone was plugged in or unlocked. The same at 7:42 a.m. From 7:42 a.m. to 11:34 a.m. There's no activity on his phone. At 8:15 a.m., this is when Donna Gorman identifies Zach Hughes. At 9:15 a.m., you see the ring camera from across the street of the incident location showing the suspect going into the front door. At 9:27 a.m., 133 Canebrake Drive captures the suspect leaving on a bicycle. At 9:28 a.m., 207 Saratoga Drive captures the suspect leaving on a bicycle. At 1:17 p.m., same day, still the same day, Zach Hughes' phone connects to the Wi-Fi at the mountain house. At 1:48 p.m. and 2:22 p.m., as I stated earlier, his phone comes out of the airplane. At 2:32 p.m., that's when the flock camera shows the bicycle in the back of his truck at Rutherford and Buffalo. And that is in the direction that is coming from the Travelers Rest area back towards downtown. So that would be coming from the mountain house back towards the city limits, back towards near where Fort Mello live. 2:42 is device location puts in at 200 Tyndall, where he's residing. At 4:23 p.m., there's some location data from schedule fly on his phone. I believe schedule fly is how he signs up for work. At 6:16 p.m., his phone data puts him at 103 North Main Street. At 7:30 p.m., he's captured on block camera. His vehicle is captured on block camera, the Ford Ranger, at Lawrence and Washington. That's the Greenville city limits. And at 7:15 p.m., at an unknown location, he has a 120-minute phone call with John Mello.
That's all the state has for this witness.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to break for the evening. As I have told you before, you're prohibited from watching any TV coverage of this trial, and you should not do any type of research or investigate anything. Do not look at any social media. I've already asked you to cut off any notifications that you might have on your phone. It really is important, as I told you, to the integrity of this trial, to justice and fairness to the defendant and the state, that you only consider the evidence that comes in through this courtroom. You are not to begin any kind of deliberations among yourselves whatsoever until the end of the trial, when I give you specific instructions to begin your deliberations. And again, you cannot discuss this case with your spouses, family members, friends, until after your jury service is completed. And if anyone comes and talks to you, you need to let me know immediately. I hope you'll have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all back at 9:30 in the morning, okay? Thank you again.
Okay. 10 o'clock tomorrow, and I hope they don't decide they're going to knock this out quickly and work on the weekend, because I don't want to be here on the weekend. I will see you in the morning, love. Have a good evening. Bye.